So now we're going to go into some of our panel discussions. So if we could have the folks that are on our employment panel, please come on up. So as they're making their way up there, I want to introduce the moderator, and then he's going to give the opportunity for the rest of the panel members to introduce themselves. So the employment panel moderator. So as I told you, my background is helping military veterans get placed in the corporate world. His job was the same thing. He ran a competitor company to myself. So actually, over the last year, since we both stepped out of that realm, we've developed a friendship since then. And I realized that when you're helping military veterans, whether it be with employment, entrepreneurship, or education, there is no competition because we're all in this together. And he's a good veteran, and he's a good friend of mine, and he's a good helper of people. My friend, Mr. Brian Davis.
Thank you all very much. Yes, have a seat, get comfortable. Just to let you guys know the format of this, how it's going to flow. We're going to do some quick introductions, and I'm going to ask a couple questions to our panel just to get the conversation going a little bit. And after we get that, we're going to move it up to the floor and take your questions, because we've got a very diverse set of experiences up here on the employment sector. We want to utilize the time to tap into that. So if we would, if you guys could just give a quick 2-minute introduction and break down the line.
Absolutely. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Stevens. I am a former Army captain. Actually, I have dual service in the Air Force as an enlisted person, and then subsequently as a JAG in the Army. And I made the transition out of the military probably about 5 years ago, and moved down to sunny Florida. And now I am the Director of HR Risk and Legal Services for the Hillsborough Transit Authority. So I'm very, very happy to be here and share with my fellow panelists and thank all the folks who put this together to be able to share with our fellow veterans and their families about our experiences and how we transition now, and to probably give you some insight in how you can continue to further your career and transition. And as the General said, give this world that's starving for good leaders out in the employment world some good new material. So thank you for allowing me to be here today.
Hello everyone, my name is Derek Miller. Thanks for having us, and thanks for putting this together. It's an honor to possibly get back and help the veterans in their current situations. My background, I was in the Marines for 4 years active duty, did my inactive Ready Reserve time, finished up in '99. As soon as I got out of the Marine Corps, I used the GI Bill and received an economics undergrad from Pennsylvania, so it was up north. And then from there, I was, as soon as I graduated from college, graduated, I believe it was a Saturday, I had a job lined up for Monday, Daimler Chrysler Financial Services. So I was for 6 years in corporate finance with them, lived in 4 states, received 6 promotions while there. And then in '05, I was at a point where I didn't want to relocate any longer. So I started in Philly, then they moved me to Dallas, and then moved me to Charlotte, then they moved me to Orlando. And then from there, I was working with, I moved into the staffing industry, and I used the accounting and finance experience that I gained. I was an internal auditor, financial analyst, I was in credit, so I was in a bunch of different areas within corporate finance. Use the experience that I gained to then transition into the staffing world and help people find positions within those disciplines. And then, so within about a year in the industry, I moved into a managing director role. I did full P&L for the Orlando market, and was with the company roughly about 6 years. So 5 of them were full P&L for the Orlando market. So it's been a great experience, really understanding from an employment standpoint what they look for, and then from a candidate standpoint, people finding jobs and matching those two up. So it's been an honor in that industry. It's rewarding. To me, it was rewarding. And I'm still in the industry, and about 2 months ago, I've decided to go ahead and take the leap of starting my own company in Orlando, and I'm gonna. It's going to be a certified veteran company. My wife and I, we're starting up, and it's going to be staffing. Brought my wife Bada, she's here in the audience as well. And,
member of our entrepreneurial panel as well.
Awesome, yeah, they're going to talk to me about it. I'm not open, I'm interested in helping. I want to give back, and when you have something, you don't give it to someone, then it's not used. That's my thought process, but thanks.
White, and I'm just very honored to be here among a group of veterans. I'm a retired first sergeant from the United States Army, served 20 years in the Army, then transitioned out in 2005, and I went to work. I wanted to go into human resources. That's what I did in the Army, but I had a problem. They wouldn't really kind of recognize the way my military service. So it was kind of hard. And HR is kind of a hard career field to kind of get into anyway. So I took a step back and went in as an account executive for a trucking company, ABF Freight, and got really lucky. And they were starting a recruitment department, and they knew I did recruiting for the Army for a while, and so they asked me to lead that department for them. So I got a break, did that for about 2 years, and then I got recruited out of there to a book distribution company in Chicago to run their HR department. I was the director of HR and organizational development for that company for 4 years, until I recently got recruited once again to come to sunny Florida. I left Chicago about 6 months ago, so that was a great thing to come to United Technologies Corporation, a big company. I'm the global HR leader for their overseas operation mainly. I deal a lot with China and EMEA, Europe. I deal with the product managers and marketing specialists. So I had a lot of different ups and downs with my transition from the military to the civilian. But I've gained a lot of knowledge, and I think there's some great opportunities out there. If you can just package yourself in a way that is more palatable to the civilian community, you can really come across well. You have a lot of great skills that they're looking for. You just have to learn how to translate that into the civilian talk, per se. All right, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Morgan Hofeld. I'm with Clear Channel Communications. I'm Director of Talent Acquisition for our global initiatives. But I'm very glad to be here today. It's actually very near and dear to my heart because I actually started working with these three guys. It seems like many moons ago with Hal, Mike, and Vic. Started with a little company down in Sarasota and kept in touch all this time. My career has been in human capital. Prior service Navy, I've been in human capital, executive search, and now global talent initiatives. So here to help out and looking forward to this. Thank you.
Folks, as you can see, we have a very good, diverse background of former military folks who've made that transition successfully to the civilian sector. And that's really what we're here to discuss is how do you make that leap? We have some folks out there right now that may be looking for that career path. We have other folks that may be looking to add some of those military folks to their staff, but don't know how to quite recognize what skills and attributes would translate over properly. So the first topic I want to ask is, I guess I'll throw it out to you, Michael. I'll put you on the spot for the first question is, when you look at a transitioning military member, or when you look back at yourself, what were the attributes that were most valuable to an employer?
Well, I think that's a great question for me, and we get a ton of applications in all the time. Prior to going to the Transit Authority, I was the Director of Human Resources for the University of South Florida. And when we look at job applications, we look for the type of prototype individual. Everything that we've learned as members of the military in our respective services is applicable. That primarily fundamental element of leadership, commitment, and determination, the ability to see things through. Everyone who's gone through basic training, or ROTC, or OBC, or ANOC, or BNOC, whatever these various things that you've gone through your military career says a lot to me as a potential employer, as a recruiter. It says that this is someone who is objective-oriented. This is someone who can work with folks of diverse backgrounds. This is someone who has been exposed to basic leadership and advanced leadership doctrines and concepts. So I'm looking at how I can leverage that individual. Now, that begs the next question. How does someone coming out of that environment translate that into something that is relevant for the civilian world? For those of you who have made that transition or you're in the midst of making that transition, you realize very quickly the things that we would articulate that would be great for an OPR or an enlisted evaluation report, all the acronyms, all the bull words, all the things that we throw out, they're great when you're inside, when you're wearing the uniform. It doesn't translate well on the civilian side. So one of the things that I think is understanding where you want to be and then translating those skills in basic, everyday, civilianized language where they make sense. So, for example, if you have someone that says, well, you know, I led a small, you know, squadron, and I was a squad leader, and I did X, Y, and Z. Well, we all know what that means if you were an infantryman, or you were someone who's in the Army, Marines, whatever. To a civilian person, though, the thing that I would want to see, I think that someone who's not familiar with that area would say, I was able to effectively lead a small team to accomplish X, Y, and Z objectives. So the key takeaway here is you have all this great experience, we have all this collective great experience. It's meaningless, though, if you can't translate it in a meaningful way, which this new world that we go into and we find ourselves trying to find employment in, i.e. the civilian world, that they understand and that they embrace and that they value. So I think you have to be able to make that translation.
That's a great point. And folks, and I want to add that a little bit, I'm going to move over here, go closer to the action. One of the things that, as a guy that's been on both sides of the table myself, interviewing and being the interviewer, is you ask companies, you know, why do you hire that person? What about that person makes you want to hire them? And the root of all of it is their past performances, their track record of success. Because the best indicator of future performance is past performance. So what you mentioned about how to package it and how to talk about it correctly, the guy across from you, if I was doing an interview with him, I'd be home free because I could use all the acronyms, I could tell him what schools I've been to, and he knew it. But if I'm talking to somebody else who, you know, their idea of the military is a movie they watched last weekend, it's going to be hard to get those points across. So you have to package it, and the best way to package it to show your past experiences, which will indicate the future performance, is simply telling stories. Telling stories about what you did, what the background was, what your objectives were, what you did to accomplish those objectives, and what the end result was. And if you can tell stories in the interview process, you're going to show the folks what skills and attributes you have that your peer group doesn't have. Sounds easy. I'll give you a good example. I'll give you another example and move on to another topic. The question I always ask folks is, describe your leadership style. Open-ended question. You know, you get some good answers. Usually you get an answer along the lines of, well, my leadership style is one where I always empower my people. I make quick decisions when they need to be made. I like to keep everybody informed, and I'm honest with my people. Good answer, right? Good traits, good concept, no teeth. How does that show me that you embody those principles? It doesn't. It tells me you read a book, but it doesn't tell me what you did. Same answer might be, hey, you know what? My leadership style is one where I empower my people and I keep them informed, but I'm not afraid to make a quick decision when need be. For example, just last year, I was in charge of a small unit, and our objective was to offload a ship within 24 hours, and we had 18,000 Connex boxes to offload. I only had two transports to offload, 2 pieces of equipment to get the equipment done, and I had 8 bodies. Typically, with that limited resources, it would take us at least 72 hours. So here's what I did. I sat my team down, we worked out a plan where we would have rotating shifts. I asked one other individual to go to our adjacent unit that I knew had just come off of Liberty and see if they could spare some bodies to help us. They were able to send some people over during their lunch breaks. And you know what? At the end of the day, we got it done in 22 hours, not 24. Is that a little better than the first version? Okay. Next thing I want to talk about, kind of along the same lines of how do we package military to civilian, is what resources do we use, right? We've got job boards, we've got social networking sites, we've got TAMP and TAP and all kinds of other resources on base. I'm going to throw down you, Morty. What resources do you recommend when a transitioning military member says, hey, I'm getting off active duty in 6 months, where do I start?
It's a great question. I think everyone overthinks the question. You know, where do I start? Do I go to TAP? Do I go to military.com? I'll tell you the first place to start is look around. Look at each other. Look up here. We're all great starting points. This getting a job and getting a career is networking. It's what it's about. You know, talk about the general, how many people do you think that guy knows throughout his entire career? Probably thousands, I would probably guess. Who do you think, when he was in a position to hire, people would call him? If he wasn't hiring, probably put you in a position of somewhere somebody was hiring. So start there. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to help each other out. You know, Morgan, you guys hire me, look, I'm not, but, maybe David is over at this organization, or maybe these guys are hiring over there. So that's a great place to start. Another great place to start for me that I really like is some of these social media groups. One particularly professional group is LinkedIn. If you're not on it, definitely advise you to take a look at it, connect with other veterans, connect with groups, connect with myself. I know some of my friends here in the back, Hal's on it, Mike Jessup's on it. These are great places to start so you can get introductions to people and you can get tips and you can get information. So it's really about just information sharing and who do you know. But some of the best advice somebody ever told me once was, before you do anything, sit down with yourself, write a list out, every single person that you know, whether it's your mother, your grandmother, friends, neighbors, doctors, lawyers, anybody that can help you out, and you let them know. Then that way you can categorize it, and you can keep yourself in track. You can go to them and you can ask for help. Who do you know? Hey, look, I'm new in the market, just got out of service, or making a transition. Think help me out. You'd be surprised how powerful your network is.
Great answer. I wrote down, jotted down a couple notes about that question. I put down, what resources? I put down job boards, recruiters, and network. And by far the most powerful is your network. That's why we're here today. Hey, I started a recruiting company. So you would think I'd be a little bit more biased. I'd lean that way towards using recruiters. No, your network, the strongest resource you have available. And you mentioned LinkedIn. I can't tell you if there's anybody in this room that another veteran, maybe you've never met them, maybe they're on active duty, still on active duty. If they send me a request on LinkedIn, I'm taking it. And when they tell me they're looking for a job, I'm putting it out to my network because I know that we share a common bond. So that's a great answer.
Let me add a comment too, but you bring up a good point. So I ran an executive search firm for a few years as well, and people would always come to me and say, Morgan, how do you find a job? Well, you know what the secret is? The secret's this right here. It's in my pocket. Show it to me. It's a phone. That was my magical tool. So like after the interview, I went back to my desk, I picked up the telephone, and I would call every company in town to figure out who was hiring, who could use somebody with a specific skill set that you got, or you got, or you got. So if I could do it, we can all do it for ourselves. You don't have to rely on anybody. So, don't rely on anybody but yourself. You're your best tool, your best weapon in this whole thing. Yes, you just have to make it your full-time job of searching.
When you're building companies, you go into HR department, you guys looking for somebody in particular?
It's probably a long story. For me particularly,
as a recruiter or as a candidate, so you're looking for the job?
As a recruiter, you deal with hiring managers directly. So I would recommend the same thing to you as well. I mean, I deal with both of them. So we can have that offline conversation afterward, but I'll share what works for me.
I'll add to that one last bit. I'm going to get on that LinkedIn site, and I'm going to look up that company, and I'm going to see who's a veteran. That's who I'm going after. Probably not the HR lady. No offense, lady. Seriously, I'm going after the other veteran, right? That's who I'm going to target. That's where I'm going. Derek, I'll throw the next one up to you. We've talked a little bit about, when you transition, some of the behaviors that transition over. And you mentioned, the use of acronyms. How some guys, they may use an acronym in the interview. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that a transitioning military member might want to avoid when looking for their new career?
Well, I'm going on personal experience with when I transitioned. I was in Japan, and then they transitioned me to California. Marine Corps does that. In Japan, and when you're separating, they send you through out of Pendleton. So my transition, I went to college right away, so I used the GI Bill. What not to do is to get lazy. I mean, a lot of things work with momentum, and if you don't have any momentum as you're getting out with a game plan, it's going to be tougher to pick back up. So things not to do, don't have a game plan. don't, don't slow down your momentum of what you're trying to do. Also, what not to do is leave all of your options open. We take these tests when you're getting out of what it might transition to. I never thought I would be where I am today. A lot of times, without being exposed to something, you're not going to know if you have a passion for it. So I would not limit yourself. Also, what not to do is the opposite of that is take advantage of everything that being a veteran has to offer. So do not do the opposite of that. We're thinking that you don't have options and you don't have benefits in order to help you. I would say those four things. I never think of it from that way. More what can I do? But
Sure. Just echo something that he said, being in that community of military veterans and military families, we have a ton of inherent benefits and advantages. People are looking to provide you with an opportunity if you have the requisite skills. But when you talk about benefits, I told Hal when he reached out to me, this is one of the things that I think is important to mention. The very fact that you're a veteran, under the law, there, particularly for public employers in the state of Florida, in the federal government, there's a veteran's preference. Make sure that you list the fact that you are a veteran. Make sure that if there's a numerical scoring system, which most public employers have, I know in just about every public entity you go through the interview process and they'll assign points for X, Y, and Z. Well, as a veteran, you can get a bump of 5 to 10 points above and beyond just by virtue of your service. So don't forget that. That's a tremendous benefit. It's a very, very simple thing. Again, the legislature of Florida, the state statutes of Florida provide for it. It's something that you've earned by your status. It's a right and a benefit. So take advantage of those things that are out there.